Hi guys, this is your girl Wakeji Kamore and welcome to Reflections by Wakeji Kamore. We are currently going through the book of 1 Samuel. We're doing this chapter by chapter, so it'll be nice for you to listen to the end because the lessons from the chapter that we'll be reading today, I will share at the end. Also, kindly remember to share this recording with someone else, to subscribe to this channel, to click the notification bell so that you never miss any new recording. We're in the book of 1 Samuel, and today we are going to be reading chapter 10, which again I'll be reading from the NLT version, which is the New Living Translation, and I'll be sharing the lessons at the end. So kindly follow through with the story. So the last chapter that we read, Samuel met with Saul, and Samuel is about to appoint Saul to be the king and to anoint him. So today we're going to read about that. So remember how they met is that Saul and his servant were looking for some donkeys that had gotten lost, and then they decided to go to a different city to look for a seer or a prophet so that he could tell them where the donkeys were. And they got to this town and they met with Samuel, and Samuel told them, don't worry, even the donkeys have already been found, but spend the night here. They spent the night there, and now Samuel has been left with Saul, and the servant has been sent away to go back home. And now Saul is speaking these big things and telling Saul how he is the hope of Israel. His family is the focus of Israel. And Saul is like, but you guys, I'm like from Benjamin, which is the smallest tribe of Israel, and my family is the most important family in that whole tribe. So what is all this you're talking about? But anyway, let's get into it. Let's read and see what will happen. This is chapter 10. It says, then Samuel took a flask of olive oil and poured it over Saul's head. Me first, I'm thinking a whole flask of olive oil. Do you know how expensive olive oil is? Why are you pouring? Mugly a dot. Drop. Nope. We are done. We are saving oil. But a whole flask of olive oil and poured it over Saul's head. He kissed Saul and said, I am doing this because the Lord has appointed you to be the ruler over Israel, his special possession. When you leave me today, you will see two men besides Rachel's tomb at Zelzah on the border of Benjamin. They will tell you that the donkeys have been found and that your father has stopped worrying about them and is now worried about you. And he's asking, have you seen my son? When you get to the oak of Tabor, you will see three men coming towards you who are on their way to worship God at Bethel. One will be bringing 3 young goats, another will have 3 loaves of bread, and the third will be carrying a wineskin full of wine. They will greet you and offer you 2 of the loaves which you are to accept. When you arrive at Gibeah of God, where the garrison of the Philistines is located, you will meet a band of prophets coming down from the place of worship. They will be playing a harp, a tambourine, a flute, a real, and they will be prophesying. At that time, the Spirit of the Lord will come powerfully upon you, and you will prophesy with them. You will be changed into a different person. I like this. After these things take place, do what must be done, for God is with you. Then go down to Gilgal ahead of me. I will join you there to sacrifice burnt offering and peace offering. And you must wait for 7 days until I arrive and give you further instructions. So basically, Samuel is telling Saul, these are the things that are going to happen on your way back home. It's probably just like a confirmation that you have actually been appointed to be ruler, anointed to be ruler of Israel. So these are the things that you will find along the way. You will meet these people that will tell you this. You will meet these other people that will offer you this. And then you will meet another group of people who are prophesying. And the Spirit of the Lord is going to come upon you and you will prophesy. All right, let's continue. As Saul turned and started to leave, God gave him a new heart. And all of Samuel's signs were fulfilled that day. When Saul and his servants arrived at Gibeah, they saw a group of prophets coming down to them. Then the Spirit of the Lord came powerfully upon Saul, and he too began to prophesy. When those who knew Saul heard about him, they exclaimed, "What? Is even Saul a prophet? How did the son of Kish become a prophet? I like that there will always be bystanders who are always, criticizing you. It doesn't matter if the Spirit of the Lord has come powerfully upon you. There are those who just look at you and see the old person. I mean, Saul has basically been made into a new man. The Spirit of God has come upon him. He's been given a whole clean heart. And still there are people who look at him and say, huyu tu Saul mwenye tunajua, we wacha, ana prophesy aje? One of those standing there said, can anyone become a prophet, no matter who his father is? So that is the origin of the saying, even Saul is a prophet. When Saul had finished prophesying, he went up to the place of worship. Where have you been? Saul's uncle asked him and the servant. We were looking for the donkeys, Saul replied, but we couldn't find them. So we went to Samuel to ask him where they were. And what did he say? His uncle asked. He told us that the donkeys were already been found. Saul replied, but Saul did not tell his uncle what Samuel said about the kingdom. I like that. There's a lot of wisdom there. That when he's explaining about what happened, how they were looking for the donkeys, how they went to Samuel, how he told them that the donkeys had been found, he left out this whole part where he's been anointed to be king of Israel. Like that is like the major news, but he left it out. That is wisdom. Right. Verse 17. Later, Samuel called all the people of Israel to meet before the Lord at Mizpah. And he said, this is what the Lord, the God of Israel, has declared. I brought you from Egypt and rescued you from the Egyptians and from all the nations that were oppressing you. But though I have rescued you from your misery and distress, you have rejected your God today and have said, no, we want a king instead. Now therefore, present yourselves before the Lord by tribes and clans. So Samuel brought all the tribes of Israel before the Lord, and the tribes of Benjamin was chosen by lot. Then he brought each family of the tribe of Benjamin before the Lord, and the family of the Matrites were chosen. And finally, Saul, son of Kish, was chosen from among them. But when they looked for him, he had disappeared. This guy who has just been appointed to be king has disappeared. So they asked the Lord, where is he? And the Lord replied, he is hiding among the baggage. So they found him and brought him out, and he stood head and shoulder above everyone else. Then Samuel said to all the people, this is the man that the Lord has chosen as your king. No one in Israel is like him. And all the people of Israel shouted, long live the king. Wow. Then Samuel told the people what the rights and duties of the king were. He wrote them down on a scroll and placed it before the Lord. Then Samuel sent the people home again. When Saul returned to his home at Gibeah, a group of men whose hearts God had touched went with him. But there were some scoundrels who complained, how can this man save us? These guys, they complain they want a king. Now they have been given a king. Now they're like, how can this man save us? And they scorned him and refused to bring him gifts. But Saul ignored them. That is also a lot of wisdom that he's ignored these guys. He's like, you know what? It is well. Nahash, king of Ammonites, had been grievously oppressing the people of Gad and Reuben, who lived east of Jordan River. He gouged out the right eyes of each of the Israelites living there, and he didn't allow anyone to come and rescue them. In fact, of all the Israelites east of Jordan, there wasn't a single one whose right eye, Nahash had not gouged out. But there were 7,000 men who had escaped from the Ammonites, and they settled in Jabesh Gilead. So it's like, Saul has been anointed king. He's been appointed, there's a whole inauguration that has gone on. And right immediately after that, we are told about the oppressor. It's like, immediately he's about to go to work. He was raised so that he can he become a ruler and that he can save the Israelites from their oppressors. So we are firsthand told about this oppressor called Nahash, king of Ammonites, who was removing the right eye of all the Israelites. As a matter of fact, says that whole area. none of the people who lived there had their right eye. Like all of, like, my goodness, I can't, like, my mind has refused to can, so I can't. Anyway, the main event of this chapter, which is chapter 10, is Saul's appointment as the first king of Israel. But let's take a closer look at what really happens. Okay, so number one, there's a private appointment before the public appointment. The first thing that we see is that there's a private anointing, an appointment that happens before the public event. I like that. Can you imagine if Samuel just gathered all the Israelites and appointed Saul as king without any preparation, without having any prior conversation with him, without giving him any sort of proof that God has chosen him to be king? That would have been such a disaster. I mean, even after the private appointment and private anointing, where the whole flask of olive oil has gone on him, even after the 3 signs that prove that God had actually chosen him to be king, Samuel still felt very inadequate. And Saul, I keep forgetting these people, like confusing these people. Saul still felt very inadequate. I mean, the guy is hiding in the baggage on his inauguration event. The tallest and the most handsome man who had come from an important, influential family in the tribe of Benjamin felt inadequate to be king. I think God, I like the fact that God likes to call us in private. He sends someone our way to confirm that he has a calling upon us privately. He makes his call clear to us privately. He assures us in private. Then he presents us to the world. These private moments can take up to a day, a week, a month, or even years. But he does this so that the weight and the opinions of the world do not overwhelm us. I mean, by the time Saul is coming from being anointed privately on his way home, he meets with people who belittled him and his capacity to prophesy. And even after he was appointed king, there were still those who scorned him and refused to bring him gifts as a king. It is a private moment that you initially and continually have with God that remind you that he himself called you. And those private moments give you strength to withstand any challenges that will be thrown your way. My challenge for you is that you will not be in a hurry. Don't be in a hurry to present yourself to the world. Don't be in a hurry to come out and say, you guys, me, I've been called. I am the prophetess. I am the what? I'm the one who's coming to rescue you guys. Don't be in a hurry to present yourself to the world. Don't be in a hurry to let the world know that you have been called. Let God finish the work that he needs to do on you privately, so that then you can be able to withstand every public challenge, every public opinion that comes your way, because you have allowed God to finish the work that he needs to do on you privately. This is your girl Wakeji Kamore, and this has been Reflections by Wakeji Kamore. See you tomorrow.